Michael, what a year it's been for Sydney FC. The Sky Blues are the holders of both the men's and women's titles.
Yeah, they're pretty happy. It's a real treat to have their Chief Executive Officer in the studio, Danny Townsend. How are you, Danny?
Great, fantastic. Thanks for having me.
It has been a big 12 months, hasn't it?
Yeah, it sure has. I think, sometimes you got to sit back and pinch yourself and know that you've got both trophies in the cabinet at the moment. And, it's fantastic for us to win the W League and then to back that up with the men's title was great for the club.
You've literally just got back from China. How did that go? How did the game go?
It was hot, very hot, 40-odd degrees. But it was a fantastic experience for our guys, great for our brand, a club to be invited to play one of the top 3 clubs in the world was fantastic for us. And I think the young guys that we sent up there had a really good experience and they'll remember it for many years to come. So it was fantastic.
5 guys didn't get out of the hotel crook. This is part of the challenge, isn't it? Because obviously this game was slightly different, but there is a lot of hopping, isn't there, when you play for a brand like Sydney FC? Yeah,
look, we've been fortunate enough to qualify for the Asian Champions League the last 3 seasons, and with that means a lot of travel up into Asia during the A-League season. So, yeah, the guys are on planes and off planes and training and playing and back on planes, and yeah, it's a difficult time, but it's a great time for the club because it puts us up on that Asian stage that other codes in Australia don't really have that privilege to.
Yeah.
So
how do the players fare with all that, with all the travel and the moving around, and it's fairly inconsistent? How do they cope?
I think they enjoy it. I think for them it changes the monotony of the day-to-day that you do if you weren't playing in the Champions League. And I think for us last year it was a real key catalyst for our success. We actually started to play better towards the back end of the season when we were playing Champions League because you are playing a higher level of football. You're playing champions of China, champions of Japan. So you've got to raise your level of play, and then when you go there and you have success and you come home, you feel more confident going into games in the A-League.
We've been talking about women's sport here, and women's soccer/football has really grown in this country. We've seen the Matildas play, and depending on how you look at it, some people said it was a disappointment, some people said that it was successful. But from a Sydney FC point of view, having Kennedy, 6 players?
Yeah, we had 6 Matildas playing in the World Cup, which was great. Yeah, great for the club. And look, you're right, women's football is going from strength to strength, and it's a real key pillar for our club. We take a lot of pride in our W League team and the resources we provide them. We treat the girls exactly the same as we treat the guys and ensure that the facilities they have access to are the same as the men. And recently the CBA, we negotiated to bring the girls up to level pay with the base wage with the men, which is also a great step in the right direction.
How important was it for you to do that? Because that's significant.
Yeah, look, I think, they work just as hard. At the end of the day, the girls are putting in the hours just as much as the men are. And, the revenues aren't the same, and that's obviously part of the challenge of getting them the top level of pay up. But at a minimum level, there's no reason why they shouldn't be the same, and we felt it was an important step for the code to take to get to equality.
Well, when you talk about revenue, money, it guides everything in sport. And you guys have had a great relationship with the Star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, the Star have been our partner for the last 2 seasons. We've shared a lot of success with them. Our last 3 seasons have probably been unprecedented in terms of the success we've had, and the Star have played a huge part in that, supporting us both on the field through their sponsorship, but also our events and things that go on around the club.
The home away for home in the sports bar.
It's fantastic. And then our Sky Blue Ball and our business lunches, those sort of things are always at a high standard when you do them at the Star. So yeah, they're great.
Not a bad location, is it, Timmy?
No, exactly. And look, but you need to be creative, don't you, in your job, because you guys have just embarked on a deal with Under Armour, who are a pretty big global brand. Maybe people in Australia don't know too much about them, but it's a big step for them because it's the first step into this space. Yeah,
they wanted to make a bit of a statement in Sydney, and we were available. We were coming off our Puma contract, and as you say, they're one of the biggest apparel brands in the world, and I had the privilege of going over to Baltimore a couple of weeks ago to meet their founder and CEO and see what they do and what the DNA of their brand is, and their brand, is all about high performance, and our club is all about driving high performance out of our athletes, and the partnership's a fantastic one. We're really excited about it.
What about sport here in Sydney? It is very congested. You are battling it out with a number of other codes. How do you guys, I suppose, stay ahead or be creative with what you're doing at the club?
I think for us, we're fortunate as our code, we have a huge participation base. I think the challenge we've had as a professional game is linking the huge base of players that play the game with the professional game, and therefore for us, I think it's all about community and being able to engage with those participants. We don't really need to go chasing NRL fans and AFL fans because they're rusted on, they've been there for generations. We're half a generation old as a code, but we've we've got a huge, rich, fertile ground of young people playing our sport. So that's the key.
Because it was a massive swing shift, wasn't it? Like for people of my generation, you grew up with a domestic competition driven by cultural backgrounds, and when the A-League came in, that changed all that. But now we're about to step into a brand new world with the A-League.
Yeah, look, I think the recent change to independence has been a long time coming, really, and I think we can focus now as owners of the league. The clubs can get in behind it and invest. We need to learn from history and do things better and do things differently. And I think, that's not to say that what's gone before us has failed. I think the A-League's in a fantastic spot to continue to go forward. But, with the new structure, it should be a little bit more freedom.
So what's next for the Sky Blues? The boys are having a bit of a break after that trip?
No, they're straight back into it. They've got an FFA Cup match on Wednesday night against Brisbane Roar, which is...
Break in temperature, though. Yes,
absolutely. If they can play in 42-degree heat, then they'll be fine next Wednesday night at Cogra.
You must be loving your role with such a brand, and you always need to be nimble, don't you? Your team needs to be nimble, both on the field and off it.
Yeah, going back to the point, we're in a cluttered, competitive sports market here in Sydney. I think there's more professional sports teams in Sydney than there is New York. So, when you look at that, you've got to do things differently, you've got to innovate, you've got to roll your sleeves up and get into the community, and that's what we do, and it's fun.
Well, congratulations on everything, and thanks so much for coming in on a Saturday.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you.